Okay, so today I'm going to show you how to make the oh so famous ISIS poi. And these are a couple different sized heads. These ones are fiberglass coral rope, 3/8 inch from Fire Mecca, and they have embedded swivels. It's anchored to the bottom nice and tight, and it's finished off all nice and secure. And this is what you get. I call it the jumbo ISIS. If you use 3/8 inch aramid coral rope, which is less squishy and slightly more of a pain to deal with in a few areas. And what you'll need for it is, for a pair of the aramid coral rope, I would suggest 35 feet for one that size, so you have some extra to work with. I cut it close. I tested it out using 33 feet, but it works just fine. Some Elmer's glue or Kevlar thread would be nice to help finish it off. You'll need one number 10 swivel per head. I got these from Home Poi. You wouldn't really want to go any smaller. You'll see why in just a bit. You'll need 2 split rings per head. I got these from Fire Mecca. They're heavy duty stainless steel split rings. You'll need a little knife or pair of split ring pliers to open those. And you'll need a pair of needle nose pliers. You will need some chain. I use and recommend the 2mm stainless steel chain from Fire Mecca. It's very strong, very narrow, very light. And you will need some bolt cutters to cut that chain, especially that chain because it is stainless steel. And let's get started. Okay, so I skipped the trouble of having you watch me do this next step because it is a pain in the ass to do with this aramid coral rope. But pretty much you take one of the ends of your rope. It helps a lot if the end is taped, and you shove it through this loop of the swivel. You want to make sure that the part that spins is facing upward so that it can freely rotate when you're done. And if you're using aramid coral rope, one of the secrets to doing it is put the rope through first, and you get the split ring in, and this little corner here, this part of the swivel will kind of push down on the rope, and it'll make a little crevice. You can kind of shove the split ring in there, and while the swivel is in there too, go ahead and shove your chain in the split ring and just rotate them through. Alright, got that all on there, and you want to make sure that this is in the center of your piece of rope. And what you're going to do next is take this other piece of rope and put it through that split ring, which will be much easier. Through, and there's the middle. It also helps if you mark the middle somehow of your rope, say with a marker, or marker would probably work the best. And you're going to start the first knot, and you're going to start it upward towards the swivel so that it hides all this stuff. And you take this one, you take the end of it, you go over this one, then take this one, go over that one, this one, go over that one, and this rope through here. And if you need a little more help on the detail of that, you can look up how to start a circle stitch, and that's pretty much the weave that this head uses throughout, and you pull all your ends nice and tight. Also, another tip, it really helps if you make your two heads side by side so that you can make sure that they're coming out the same size. And if not, the easiest way to make them come out the same size is do both of them as tight as you possibly can. Now that you got that first stitch started there, I'm going to flip it back over. And let's see, it is going this way. So flipped over, it's going that way. And you're going to want to continue that same direction. So this one over that one over that one, this one over that one, here, hold it all nice and tight. You're probably not going to want to make these poi if you're not ready to put in a lot of time. And whoops, I already made a mistake. Need to loosen that up. Need to make sure your chain is coming out the middle. Tighten that all up, and I'm just going to grab this over here since I showed you how to start that, and you're going to continue that knot going the same direction, keeping that direction until you get it to the length you want. And when you get it to the length you want, you go down, you go back down a couple layers. You're not going to cut the chain yet. You figure out the length you want, you undo a couple of the layers, and you are going to cut the chain branch just so you have one sticking out there, and I switch over. This is a fiberglass core rope, and start redoing those couple layers, and you put the second split ring through that last link. Pull that all nice and tight. So this is the second to last stitch of your first layer, and you're going to go one more time, except you're going to choose one that is facing a good direction for it. Maybe even rotate the split ring a little if you have to. This layer you're gonna have to tie real tight, because you want to make the split ring hold it really tight down so that this doesn't ever pull out, and these ropes will break if you don't anchor it to the bottom. It will break eventually. So let's see, this one, it would be best if I took this rope, put it through there and over this one, and this last rope through there. And don't worry about it being in the center. Pulling the knot tight will make it all nice and neat. This last layer, you're going to have to tie pretty tight to get that to kind of scooch over to the side there. Alright, and now one of the things that I noticed when making Isis poi heads is that sometimes they come out with, after you do the second layer, heads might look different. The reason for that is the second layer, because the stitch rotates, you have to do the outside layer when the same direction. You have to follow the inside layer. So this one is going that way. I'm going to have to make the outside layer go that same direction. And this first layer, you're just doing that same one over the other. And when you tighten these, you don't want to make them, you want to make them tight, but you don't want to make them too tight. And there's also a certain way you have to pull these ropes for it to come out nice and neat. Like, grab one of these. You want it to come out nice, neat, and even like this. It's easier for me to show what direction you pull it in after I make a few layers, but you're pretty much going to pull it kind of diagonally, kind of right in between this one. Like these two, you're going to kind of pull it diagonally, like right in the middle. And you'll see later why you don't want to make them too tight. So I'm going to go ahead, do a couple more layers. And also, after each layer, you kind of want to look down at it and make sure that all your stitches are even, and it kind of makes, like, you know, those points kind of make a little box, and if they don't, then they're not even. You need to kind of adjust it around. Alright, now I think it's good enough for me to show you how to pull it. You can see these outside layers, they're making these little loops here. And the direction you're going to pull, you can imagine you're pulling it across all of these, and it will make it all nice and even and how you want it to look. Remember not to pull them too tight, but make sure they're tight. And I will finish going up this later. Alright, now to start the last step that I never really see anyone do with Isis, and I've never seen on a tutorial. And I've already got it mostly done to spare you all that I went through having to undo and redo it over and over again to get it to match the other one, because I didn't make them both at the same time. So you will have your loose strands. Here's one of mine, and you see that it ends at the top there, and you see that the end of it goes kind of under that top loop. Now that you can actually see that, I'm going to put your pliers through this one diagonally under it, shove them in there, and grab your end. You're going to pull it through. And the last one is the hardest because as you do the other ones, it tightens the head, which is why you didn't need to make it super tight. It's easy to pull through like a few of these loops at a time. Alright, and then also you want to check that the top here, it's not like all twisted, because very often when you pull it through, the rope is still kind of twisted a little. So you need to kind of go and rotate it. And if you don't have a long enough strand, I was cutting it close. I recommended not only 35 feet for the aramid core, but I used 33 feet on this fiberglass core one, and it still came out really close. I'd say 35 feet for this one too. And also with the fiberglass one, because the rope isn't as thick, you could do it with the aramid one too, is the last stitch you can make it go over the top layer of the inside layer, and so it kind of covers up some of the swivel, and when you tighten it at the end, it'll kind of squish in and just secure around it. Alright, so now that we've got this all nice and finished, what you're going to do to completely finish it off, you just take some Elmer's glue and put it in here, and just either that or sew the ends. The glue works more than fine for this. Just glue, in there, and there, and there, just so the ends through all the beading will go through, and they'll never pull through it all. They're never going to pull through all this, but I would be a little bit pissed off if it got pulled through even one, because I'm kind of a perfectionist. And then also, I'm not sure if you can see in the camera, but little points like that where you may have pulled some of the weaving loose on the rope, you can dab some glue on that so it doesn't fray, because over time that might fray and damage a head. And other than that, let's see, when you cut the ends here, you can smear some glue over the ends of them so that they don't ever fray at the ends. And if you wanted to, you could put some up here so that the swivel doesn't ever make anything fray, or like this doesn't move around or anything. And just do that type of stuff as you see fit, or don't do it if you don't want to. And that is it. Thank you for watching, and let me know what you think of my design in the comments.